Hey folks, what's going on? Back again with another build video. This time we're looking at a status effect build. As with many status effects builds, as you can see there, we're using the Vial Mask and the Eclipse Protocol gear set. We will get into those a little bit later, but right off the top, we've got the Technician specialization, specifically for the +1 skill tier that it gives us. It gives us the freedom to do something that is not a skill tier for one of our gear pieces. So this is a recent change to this build for me. I've got the Scorpio on there. I know, it's great. I love it. Don't need to talk about it much more. The one thing I will go into is some of the other options. Obviously, you could go with the Pestilence here. The reason I'm shying away from that is that it doesn't actually proc the Eclipse Protocol talents, whereas the Poison, Disorient, and Shock from Septic Shock do. For the secondary, we have Everlasting Gaze. That is the named rifle with perfect perpetuation. If you don't have this named piece, a regular version of perpetuation is going to be just fine. The main key there is the headshots grant 50% status effect damage and duration to the next status effect you apply. That can be quite useful on a build where you are throwing out status effects here, there, and everywhere. Sidearm, it's honestly down to your personal preference. I do like the backup boomstick. Hits a little bit harder than the normal sawed-off, and on top of that, we've got ignited. I find myself applying burning damage to quite a few enemies, so having a weapon that deals 20% extra to those guys is quite handy. So off the top we have Vial, which is the exotic mask that carries the Toxic Delivery talent. For those of you who aren't aware, status effects also now apply a damage over time debuff for 10 seconds, which, as you'll see later in the video, it is quite nice to be able to stack multiple status effects on enemies. And here we have the first of 4 pieces of Eclipse Protocol. So the first piece here doesn't really do much. What it does have, however, is the backpack talent Symptom Aggravator, which amplifies all damage you deal to status affected targets by 30%. So I definitely recommend going with the backpack and the chest piece, which now gives us 2 pieces, which gives us plus 15% status effects, as well as the proliferation talent. You can read that for yourself while I go into the attributes here. Obviously have status effects on every single piece. And then, as you can see, I went ahead and put armor on kill in the mod slot. This is, again, far more of a preferential pick. Status effects is not a mod, so obviously I would do that if I could, but you can't. From there, it's a bit preferential. Skill haste is definitely another way to go here. Protection from elites, another way to go. But just wanted to mention that the key point here is the attribute of status effects. Definitely make sure you have that on every single piece if you're going to run a status effects build. For the gloves, we have the third piece of Eclipse Protocol. Now we get the 15% skill haste and 30% hazard protection. You may need that hazard protection if you're like myself and you occasionally set yourself on fire. And last, we have the 4th piece of Eclipse Protocol that now gives us the indirect transmission, which is kind of the key of this whole build. So your status effects now spread on kill to all enemies within 10 meters and refreshes 50% of the duration. And that 50% is actually going to be 75% if you remember with the chest piece talent. And that's going to feel really good when you're running with groups of enemies. Killing one will spread it to all enemies within the range. Increasing that range is obviously better, so it goes to actually 15 meters and 75% of the duration from both the backpack and chest talents. Last but not least, we've got the Golden Gear Kneepads for the brand bonus of plus 10% status effects. And then you can see there we have status effects as one of our attributes. The second one, far more preferential. I would go with armor regen here, but again, it's down similar to the mod slot. It's more down to your personal preference. Really what's important is, again, that status effect attribute. Make sure you have it on every single piece here. And for the skills, we definitely have some options. I went with the Fire Starter and Jammer Pulse skill. So I want to talk about the Jammer Pulse first, actually, because I don't know if it's one people would think to put on immediately. I really like it because of the area of effect that it has. And again, Disrupt does count as a standard status effect, which means our Vial talent of Toxic Delivery will proc whenever you apply Disrupt. And on top of that, Disrupt allows you to have seconds to pop out of cover to use both the Firestarter Chem Launcher and the Scorpio Shotgun. So with that, let me know what you think of this one. I find it really fun to run in a group where you're not necessarily the center of attention. This is something of a fragile build, but you can run it solo, as you'll see in the next video. But more important than that, try it out for yourself. Let me know if you would tweak anything. Let me know in the comments below. Please remember to like and subscribe if you like this video, and we will see you in the next one.
Teardrop detected. Rogue Stinger Hive detected.
I need to reload!
Hostile Stinger Hive detected.